Hi everyone, this is JD with JD's Custom Woodworks. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Today's video, I have two things going on. For one, I'll be working a little bit on the lathe area, as well as doing a little bit of work on the project that you see on the lathe right now. That is a Light Saber handle. I do not have any footage of me turning it, but I did record my weathering of said Light Saber handle. And you'll get a little preview of that here in a second. Once I get it free, there we go. It is turned out of a piece of poplar, and I stained it, and then aged it and distressed it a little bit. And had a lot of fun doing that, and I'm really excited, really happy with how it turned out. So for right now, I'm just cleaning off the lathe, clean off that area. I had already swept up a lot of dust and chips from there. What I want to do is make a temporary storage solution for my chisels and various calipers and other lathe accessories and some of my blanks. So I had this piece of MDF, painted yellow of course, nice and bright. It's from an old bookshelf that I'd taken apart. I'm just cutting it down to size over on the table saw real quick. And it's just going to be sitting on the bottom, not screwing anything in place. Like I said, it's just temporary. The wall that you see behind the lathe is the old drywall that was in the building whenever I first got there. And I've replaced all the other walls except for that side wall there. So once I do replace that wall, and I'm sure of where light switches and fixtures and permanent wall items are going to be, I'll know what space I have to work with as far as mounting, organization, and cabinets, storage for lathe tools. I am curious as far as any of you watching this, if you are turners, do you have a preference as far as how to store your lathe chisels? I've seen them mounted or secured to the wall, similar to like a gun rack with them leaning up against something, or in PVC pipe. Is that something that you do, or do you store them elsewhere? I'd like to know. Okay, for right here, I'm just working with some corrugated plastic. I'd cut it to the right size for the back. For this lathe, I think it was 43 inches by 18 inches high. And then I'd notched out for the nuts and washers that stick through from the stand. And here I tried taping it up in place, but the tape wasn't sticking to the underside of the bed of the lathe because it still has oil and grease from whenever it was shipped, packaged, to keep it from rusting. So I'd rather not get rid of it. I'll leave it there. And I figure once I put the end caps on, it'll square itself up. So I had taken measurements for the end caps. It's a triangle, but it's 6 inches wide at the top and 12.5 inches at the bottom. So I cut a square piece to the dimensions of 12.5 inches wide by the 18 inches high. And then I found the center and then marked 3 inches on either side to account for the 6 inches of the top of the triangle. And then just connected from the edge of the 6 inches down to the 12.5 corner. And once I had one side that fit, I traced it and then cut out the second. And then just like the back piece, there are washers and nuts that stick through. So I just cut out a 1-inch square on the top two corners of each piece. And then this one I did have to trim a little bit to get it in place there. Put that in place and it's all closed off except for the top piece. So first I made a cut at 32 inches long, which is the space underneath the bed there. And I cut a 6-inch wide piece, but that's just enough that it fits inside, and I want it to hang out the back a little bit to prevent chips from coming in the back there. Once I had the right size, I got down in there with some blue tape, taped it to the bed, and then taped all the plastic pieces together. And this isn't going to keep dust out by any means. Um, a lot of chips come out the front and they'll fall down in there. But I do want to prevent as much as possible, so it's less cleaning in the future. Eventually I would like to put a cabinet, build a cabinet for that entire space down there and have it secured to the wall. That'll come later. I primarily just need somewhere to put these lathe tools and accessories and the blanks whenever I'm not using the lathe, so that I can work on other projects. So you just see me loading it up there, putting some chisels. That box there first was the chisel set. I'm just putting some blanks. And while I'm loading that up, I'll just take a minute to lead you into the lightsaber handle portion of this video. If you know what that's called, it's not a lightsaber handle, it's called something else. Is it called a hilt, or does it have a special name for the Star Wars galaxy? If you know, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to know so I could then be calling it the right thing. That'd be a big help. But yeah, I had turned this lightsaber handle earlier today. Don't have any footage of that, like I said, but I do have the footage of me weathering it. I wanted to try some different techniques through adding various colored stains and using tools to scrape and cause a little bit of damage to it. So we'll jump right into it here. I'm just sanding it down after I had turned it, and I had created two recesses in the actual handle portion of it, and I wanted to incorporate leather into that. So this is some leather scrap that I have. Just cutting a thin strip about a 1/4 inch wide, and then I take it over to the lathe and I figure out what lengths I need to cut off. And I'm going to use contact cement and glue. Put some contact cement on the back sides of these pieces of leather, and then also on the handle itself. And the way contact cement works, if you haven't worked with it, you brush it onto two surfaces that you want to glue together. You let it dry for, I think, 10 or 15 minutes or so, just until the surface becomes tacky. It's a solvent-based adhesive, and once that solvent dries, all that's left is the glue. And then whenever you bring the two pieces to bond them together, it creates a very tight, strong bond that's it's very hard to break. And it's great for bonding different materials together, such as in this instance for leather to wood. You can also use it for veneers and different laminations as well. It works great. But you just gotta remember to control how you adhere it. Once you stick it down, it tends to grab and stay there for good. So you only got one shot at it. You gotta be very careful. And then here I'm just trimming off the extra with the leather there. Not too awful concerned about making a perfect cut, because it's going to be weathered and I want it to look distressed a little bit. And but actually it ended up looking in the end very, very well. Well placed, well put together. I do want to make sure that I have a good bond between the wood and the leather, so that's what I was doing there. Just going over it a few times, making sure I press it in place. And I'm going to do the same thing at the other end. That contact cement had already dried, so just wrap the leather around. I'm pulling it tight so that it can sink into the recess that I made nice and securely. And I cut that one to length as well. I find that it was easier to do several light cuts and gradually creep up on it, rather than just trying to cut through it all at once. And here I am just using some various rasps and chisels, trying to add some wear and tear to the handle. There you see I'm making sort of like a war mark, maybe where the lightsaber hit during a battle or something like that. And just distressing it a little bit more with a triangular file and another round file. and yeah, just make it look like it's been around the galaxy. It's always fun to try to create the story. You try to think of, oh, maybe it was dropped a few times, or as you'll see here probably later on, maybe they kept track of how many battles they've won, so maybe they had hash marks on it. Um, that's what this one does. And you'll see here it kind of goes from this bright white to all of a sudden being stained. I don't know what happened to the footage. I guess I didn't hit record because it wasn't on my card. So, but I had stained it. And if you're interested, the handle itself is a provincial stain, and then the two end caps were stained using a red mahogany. And I was just using the file again to clean up, expose some bare wood a little bit. And I am using a black paint now to fill in sort of the deeper gouges and the scrapes and scratches and stuff that that would have happened over time, and it would have filled with dirt and oil from your hands and grease, and it would have picked up all sorts of intergalactic dirt. So I'm using black just to fill in those voids, and then I come back with a damp cloth, water cloth, and I just want to clean up the surface a little bit. I want to push that black paint into all the grooves and the crevices, and clean off the surface a little bit, and just add some more black paint to some of the deeper areas to create that shadow line, but also show wear and tear a little bit more. And I go over everything with 220. This is the last time I'll be sanding it before adding a finish to it. I had added a finish after each stage whenever I was staining it. There you see the hash marks. I'll spin it around again. Those hash marks on the handle. I was thinking that they had won 5 lightsaber battles, so you know what that means. But yeah, it's fun to try to tell that story, and you're telling a long story really quickly by making a fake antique like this. But it's a lot of fun, and it's really cool. It's a great creativity and imagination exercise, and it was a lot of fun. And I really like how it turned out. I was actually having a lightsaber battle with Darth Vader in my basement before editing this video, so definitely a project to bring out the kid in everybody. So just adding various coats of finish here. It was wipe on polyurethane, and there's something else. It was a little bit of a mixture. Just basically making a friction polish. There you saw the wipe on poly, so using that as the final top coat for there. So, and here I'm just using my beeswax polish. This will be available on my website. Hopefully very soon. I'll be making more of it, and it'll be available for sale. It's all sorts from my father's bees. He is a beekeeper, so we make our own beeswax polish. For my furniture projects, and also for cutting boards and various things. It's very nice to use, and it's food safe. Yeah, there's my high-tech branding right there, and JD's custom beeswax polish. There you go. Alright guys, I'm just going to buff that out and finish this project up. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and like I said, be sure to watch out tomorrow for information on the giveaway and how to enter. And thank you very much for watching this video, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I hope you have a great night, great day, whatever time it is that you're watching this, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like this video, share it, leave a comment, and I appreciate it. I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great day.